You can stand, Governor, if you like. Did you see that the other night, State of the Union?
I did.
That was a litmus test. Democrats didn't stand. Now, that's your party. Should they have stood? You want to hear the question again?
No, I heard it.
Would you stand?
I think I would have stood. I don't think I would have applauded the guy. I mean, we're out there, absolutely violating our civil rights in Minnesota in particular. I mean, I'm talking to Tim Walz yesterday, quite frankly.
You know, they want to impeach him today. Did you hear that? They're filing to impeach your friend Tim Walz.
Well, let me tell you, Tim has got his hands filled right now. Look, I think that I would have stood. I certainly wouldn't have applauded his effort in terms of they killed 2 American citizens, and they haven't had accountability on that.
We haven't had the report to say whether it was justified or not. That's still an open-ended question as to whether or not they put themselves in harm's way.
I think I've seen enough video to know that they should have restrained themselves a lot more than that. If that was a loved one of ours, we would be absolutely livid.
Okay, well, let's just narrow it to the question.
But I would have stood.
Play it again, Tom. The question was kind of a litmus test.
I would have stood, but I would not have applauded that guy.
Okay, play it again, and then you'll tell me you would have stood. Play it. So, in a vacuum, without veering us to ICE raids and everything, you would have stood for that. You agree with that premise?
I would have stood, but also I did not go to the cabinet meeting last weekend or the dinner, as he's excluding. I couldn't follow the bouncing ball. First, the Democrats are invited, then the Democrats are not invited, then the Democrats are invited. Look. I would have not applauded his effort in terms of the way that he's violating civil rights throughout the country, and then imposing, different types of activity that is really threatening people, tearing them out of houses and doing that type of thing. Yeah, let's get the criminals out. I've been on this for a while with Eugene. Get the criminals out. Do not profile me or your family the way he's doing. So I would have stood up on that, just like my top responsibility is to protect the people in the state of Rhode Island.
All right, so the question was, and the way it was framed, that you would have stood up, and you agree with the premise that protecting Americans is not illegal.
I would have stood up, but I would not have applauded that guy.
Okay, that guy, at first you were invited to the White House dinner with the Governors Association. I think you would have liked to go on to that, because I think you enjoyed them in the past. Am I not? Even Trump's, you went last time.
Look, I think it's a responsibility that I have to make sure I'm interacting with the cabinet members. But when the president decides that he's going to exclude certain states from that conversation, I don't think that's right. So, and then he didn't ever invite 2 of the Democratic governors to the dinner, and I didn't think that I wanted to participate in that. But I did participate in the National Governors Association meeting. Yeah. I did meet with the Secretary of Energy. I did meet with the Secretary of Interior. Talking about energy issues in New England area. So just because you stand up for what you think is right doesn't mean that you're not going to continue to talk to people who can, have the ability to help our state.
You declared a state of emergency after the blizzard here. Yeah. And you're going to ask Trump for money now. You think he's going to give you any money?
I think he is.
You think he is?
I think that we have
three members of the 4-member delegation skipped the State of the Union. Only the senior statesman, Jack Reed, went.
Well, I let me tell you. We had a state of emergency. I'm slow to call one. I get criticized on that every once in a while, but when I call it, it is. And that was a state of emergency, and it ended up being the largest snowstorm that we ever had, blizzard conditions. And our highway department, our Rhode Island DOT, did a remarkable job in terms of clearing our streets as quickly as they did. Rhode Island Energy, I'm all in on them in terms of the way that they responded. I'm talking to the CEO down in Pennsylvania and tracking, making sure that I've been one of the outspoken people in the state about our outages, power outages during storms compared to our bordering states, Gene. We far outdid them, and in terms of making sure that people didn't lose their electricity. I mean, we peaked at about 50,000, and they brought it down. But yes, it was a state of emergency.
And you think Trump's going to give you money?
I think that
after the way you and the other Democrats talk about him, you have no fear that he will play a little hardball with you.
I think that FEMA is in a position, or already on board. They know that we've had a state of emergency. We brought I brought in, extra help to help the municipalities all around the state of Rhode Island, including Providence to a large degree, bringing in with Phil Scott, Republican governor, by the way, a friend of mine, brought in crews from Vermont. Shapiro helped us in Pennsylvania. Ned Lamont in Connecticut, and Janet Mills up in Maine brought in National Guard, and they're all over the state right now, virtually in every community that has asked for help.
Listen, this is not a beat up the governor over snow. It's not, because it was unprecedented, the biggest snowfall we ever had. You were here for 78 too, but different time. 78 was one thing, forecasting completely different, technology different. Governor, having gone through this and having had to call up people out of state for more equipment, what's the lesson we've learned? There's got to be a better way to do it. Do we need to spend more money for more equipment and have it stand by if we need it? Do you need the big snow eaters that we're bringing in now? Have you seen these things? They gobble up like they eat the snow. Saw it on Atwells Avenue yesterday. Do we need to spend money for these things to be a little better prepared without being critical of you? And just not. That's not the time. But can we do it better next time if we get hit again?
Well, I think we should look at all different types of resources. But the state of Rhode Island, the DOT did its job, right? So we got to our capacity, but we met our capacity, and we had to keep on working. The local communities, which I was a former mayor, you don't really gear up for the storm of the century in terms of the way you expend your dollars, but it appears as though they need a little bit better equipment in some cases, Providence included. But we filled that gap. I filled that gap. We called meetings of municipal leaders. I know that you've given a little, the disturbance there with Peter Alviti.
Hold on. Why don't since you bring it up, why don't you address that?
Well, I'll just say he was out of line. I know the chief that he pushed back on in a way that I didn't agree with, and yet, but at the same point in time, Chief Cattell's shop guy, I like him a lot. I know him. I gave him a call.
For those who might not understand, there was an emergency management Zoom call with a lot of people on it, fire chiefs and other EMA people, and Peter Alviti is alleged to have used a vulgar term in responding to Chief Cattell. He's a retired chief in North Kingstown. He's now the EMA director. He asked a question about if we get the equipment, do we have to cancel it? If we have to cancel it, and I think Peter retorted, well, and I believe it was reported as off mic. He said what he said. Now, everybody heard it. EMA apologized to Peter Alviti. You also apologized personally?
I called the chief up, told him that I felt as though that those comments were out of line. But I also want to circle back on why we had those meetings. I called those meetings. Our emergency management director, Mark Pappas, ran those meetings because we were talking to municipalities on a regular basis in groups. Tell us what you need so that the state could step forward and provide that, the things that you need to make sure that we were opening up, as many roads as we could where some of the municipalities were, certainly taxed. They reached their max, and the people that are working in those communities, I know them. They were working as hard as they could. The people that were on that call, that wasn't the only call we did. We probably did 1 or 2 calls every day to make sure that we understood what the municipalities needed from us. And when I was a mayor, I never got a call from the governor into municipalities. We're making sure that we got those assets in there. That's why Mark Pappas ran that call, and it was his call to make sure that he managed that properly, and he didn't think it was appropriate what Peter said. I agree that it shouldn't have been said, but let's talk about why we had those meetings and the help that we're providing to municipalities all around the state. Westerly, Tiverton, Providence, really making sure that Providence is getting help. Pawtucket, I was in Cranston with Mayor Hopkins yesterday. I've been with Mayor Rivera up in Central Falls. The state is stepping up to make sure that we're keeping the people safe in the state.
You weren't on that call.
That call I wasn't on. I was on another call.
What is your understanding? Did Peter think he was off the mic when he said that? How did they explain it to you?
I don't know the details of it, Gene, so I really can't comment. All I do know is that Mark Pappas felt as though that a comment was made by Peter that was that was out of line. I made sure I called the chief down in North Kingstown, who's a really, he's a real talented and skilled person, and I let him know that was out of line. But also the chief said what we were doing as a state to organize municipalities was critical in terms of providing safety. I'll tell you one story down in South Kingstown. I talked to Jim Manny yesterday, former colonel, and we opened up a path where the drifting was 5-6 feet high, and they couldn't access into a community of about 200 seniors, and we opened that up because we had those conversations with the municipal leaders, with our National Guard, and they actually had a rescue call within 24 hours when we opened that up, and they'll say that we saved a life potentially.
Well, Governor, I'm not here to be critical. It's not. I don't think it's the time or the place, but I think a fair question is, well, we could get hit again, and my only question is, do we need to buy more stuff so that we're ready?
The state.
That's what I'm just saying.
Well, first of all, the state and the most difficult snowstorm blizzard in our history, we cleared the roads that the state needed to do. So I made sure that our equipment was purchased, and during the time I've been governor, we're equipped. Our state is prepared to have another snowstorm. God forbid that we don't want it tomorrow, and I really don't want it during the next 4 years when I'm governor. But I tell you one thing: after that, we're going to get hit. We got to maintain and keep our equipment up. This particular time, there was a need for the state to help out the local communities that were asking for help, and we did that.
Okay, so you're saying your DOT did a good job, and you loaned state equipment to cities that were in need of it, and you may look into buying more equipment in the event that we get another blizzard. Am I recapping this?
We always have to upgrade our equipment because it gets worn out and used just like just like our cars. So, but I also would say that we brought in additional help because our DOT was maxed out as well. We're still doing work. We went to Vermont, brought in 15 pieces of equipment, Pennsylvania, Maine, Connecticut, all bordering states that gave us mutual aid. And Mark Pappas, our director of EMA, coordinated that, and he needs really a high level of pat on the back for the work that he did during this storm.
The Alviti remark is unfortunate that it comes on his last day, but was he also part of this operation to get what was needed in? You want to just button that up for us?
Peter was calling meetings early in the morning. Bob Rucchio, I thought, did a great job in transition because we really handed off a great deal of the responsibility of the response for this storm and the work. So Bob Rucchio, who's now the acting director, he's got all the credentials that you need to make sure that we have a smooth transition, and I think he showed leadership during this storm that shows that we're in good hands as Peter's leaving, that Bob Rucchio can manage that DOT.
Okay, I think Peter would like it said that he was working. He didn't mail it in for the last week.
No, Peter, the director Alviti was working right to the end.
Okay.
Yes.
Unfortunate that this story's in the news about the remark, but that's the way it is.
Look, it was out of line. There was the stress was high, the pressure is high. Chief Cattell understands that. He's basically said, look, we're getting on with business, and that's the most important thing we can do to keep people safe in the state of Rhode Island.
Okay. There are other things to talk about. You got a deal to save the hospitals, Roger Williams and Fatima. I think line 2 here, Tom, has got a question about that for the governor. By the way, this is Ask the Governor, so you can dial in and ask the governor whatever you want, 438-9776, 438-9776. Go ahead, Tom, you're on the radio with the governor.
Okay. My wife, for 47 years, has worked at Roger Williams Hospital. In her latter years, she worked for home care. She's worked through many divisions through there, in IB and all that. She lost her job because they closed down the home care department at the end of January. My wife was out prior to that last year for the most of the year because she fell when she was in one of her jobs, and she tore some ligaments in her wrist, and she couldn't do chest compressions and other stuff. She was off for a while. She came back in December. She worked through December and January, although they were not taking any new patients and everything. She was on salary, so they paid them all through, and then they shut the department down. Now, she tried to collect unemployment. Now, 47 years working at the same institution. They tried to find 3/4 from the prior year, and they could not find the 3/4 to give her unemployment. They went through it for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Tom, I don't mean to interrupt you. Tom, you're losing us a little bit. Get to the question so we can get you some action. What is it you want?
The question is, my wife cannot collect unemployment because they can't find 3/4. I just don't know what I can do to see if she can get unemployment. She has 7 months to her full retirement.
Okay, got it.
And
so
I
Tom,
got it.
If you leave your name and contact information, I'll run this through DLT and just see whether there's a way to help your wife. And if there's not, then we'll let you know. But if we can, then we will. But I'm glad you call in on the hospitals. During the snowstorm, which was historic, our office was putting together the bonding that was needed to keep those two hospitals open. And the highly competent staff that I have, led by, in this case, Tony Afonso, my chief of staff, who's got bonding experience in his former career, we were able to put all that together and save those two hospitals right in the middle of with a blizzard. So I'm pretty proud of the fact that we can do more than one thing and do it well. And in that case, we're going to save a lot of jobs. We're going to provide a great deal of health care to thousands of people now. And then we'll be monitoring that whole operation. But that is really good news for the state. And that was not a given that was going to happen. And we did work with the Attorney General, along with the Speaker and the Senate President, to make sure that happened. And that's worth celebrating, to tell you the truth.
So the state came up with $18 million to backstop this whole thing. Centurion is going to buy these bankrupt hospitals from Charter Care, correct? And you're going to keep running them. Let me ask you just to fill us as a Rhode Islander. Roger Williams and Fatima, I mean, if you get sick, you're going to go there, or you want to go to Miriam and Rhode Island Hospital? Are they worth saving?
Of course they are. And they
go ahead, defend them, because, I mean, this is not like speaking out of turn here.
No.
Okay?
No.
I'll go to Miriam or Rhode Island.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go to the hospital that is closest to me that I realize I'm going to get the care at. And I have visited both of those hospitals. I've talked to the personnel there. They're dedicated personnel. Tom's saying the same thing about his wife. Yeah. They are good people who provide really good health care. And now, and they've worked their way through a very unstable situation over the last year plus. Yeah. And they still are providing the care there. So
they're not. It's not too old. It's not in need of millions and millions. It's not unsustainable. Apart from the people who work there, I understand that. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the facility. We're not debating their worth. We're talking about the buildings and the complexes and whether this thing is worth saving. No, it's belly up.
They're definitely worth saving, and the fact is that if both those hospitals came out, our healthcare system would be more strained than it is. There's physical improvements that need to be made there, and that's part of the plan. There's millions of dollars that are going to be put into the facilities. We're going to make sure that they operate professionally. We will oversee that. The backstop dollars, we're very hopeful that those are not needed, and that's the only exposure that the state has to get it done. We did a very good job on that, Gene, to make sure that those hospitals are running, and they're doing it in a way where the care is going to continue and the jobs are protected.
Okay, asked and answered. It's 8:25. We're going to continue with the governor. Some poll numbers aren't going your way, but you can defend that too. Stay with us. Ask the governor. Gov.
You want to squeeze a quick call in before we go to break?
Go ahead, yeah.
Let's see.
Kathleen,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Kathleen.
Hi, how are you? I have a question. If the governor, since he's been in touch with Rhode Island Energy, has he actually talked to them about our supply and delivery charges? Because they are absolutely ridiculous. I took the time to wait on the phone with Rhode Island Energy and have them explain exactly why we are paying these astronomical fees. And they explained to me that it does come down to our local legislators.
Yeah, I'm up against time.
And I don't want to hear that we're going to help the lower income families. What about the people in the middle class?
All right.
Kids are trying to move out after college.
Kathleen, you hold on, and I'll let you continue your comments right after we do the bottom of the hour of the news. And now the governor's going to think about what you said, and we'll get you an answer. And I must say, I had the guy who runs Rhode Island Energy, and I said, look at my bill. I bought $300 worth of energy. You charged me $600 to get it to me. Twice as much to deliver it than it was the stuff I actually bought. Governor, that's probably happening to you, too. We're all on the same formula boat over here. Think about the answer. We'll come up right after this. It's 8:30 tonight. All right, 8:36. Governor's back for Ask the Governor. Kathleen is not happy with what she's paying in the delivery charge to get her gas and electric. And I could tell you it is twice as much to get it here as the stuff you're buying. Now, Rhode Island Energy will explain to you we don't make any money on the product. We make our money on delivering it to you. But Kathleen, I think you're saying it's a little out of hand at 2-1. Play her, and then hold on. This is
Greg Cornett. Yeah,
this is Greg Cornett. Kathleen, listen to this explaining why you're paying twice as much to get it as opposed to what you're actually buying. Yeah, you know what that means? It means the Democrats have been running Rhode Island for the past 100 years, put fees. You have to buy green energy. You got to buy the turbines. You got to buy it for this. Cornette, he doesn't care where he gets it from. You make him buy it from these expensive sources. That gets passed along to the bill. Go ahead, Governor, take it.
Yeah, so I mean, we know energy is a big issue for this area of the country. There's no question about that. We need to open up different types of supplies, which are important, whether it's nuclear, whether it's, if a gas line was available to us and it made sense, that would help us in terms of the overall cost. But we also got to dig in on the wind. You know that I'm pushing very hard to make sure that the Trump administration doesn't shut down the Revolution Wind, which is going to supply energy for about 200,000 homes in the state at a price that's less than what we're paying right now. So it's an all-in strategy. And in my budget this year, we're proposing to address the piece of the bill that is controlled by the state relative to the rules that they put in that is increasing our costs. And so I've got a proposal to save $1 billion over the next 5 years for the ratepayers. I'm hoping that people like Kathleen and others are going to really be vocal about supporting my effort to lower our costs.
So you, in your budget, you've got a piece that'll cut the state's fees, you're saying?
Well, it would take the energy efficiency money that we charge every month and bring it down to a more competitive area with our bordering states.
Okay.
That would save millions and millions of dollars, as well as the rules that we have on the solar and the incentives that we have for the solar industry, which again is reflected in our bills. And I think that we want to go forward. We want to change that. If we got commitments that are in place that currently, then we have to honor those. But there's some things that we're doing and proposing to address exactly what the caller was talking about.
How about building a pipeline here, Governor? You know, the Democrats shot that down. You need supply. Would you build a nuclear plant? Would you go stick your neck out on that?
Last year, we put in legislation that allows us to buy excess nuclear energy from Connecticut or other sources. Yes, we need an all-of-above type of strategy here. And I've said it publicly, on the right conditions, if a gas line could come directly into our state, that's going to help us control our costs. That's the advantages that other states have that we don't have.
Well, you better tell Governor Healy, your friend next door, that you want a gas pipeline. Kathleen, the governor is rattling off a bunch of things. He can't give you an instant answer today. Are you satisfied with what he's saying?
No, I'm not going to be satisfied because I did the work and I found out exactly why it's happening. We get our energy from Kentucky, and every time that energy has to go from Kentucky to another state all the way to Rhode Island, we pay it's like a toll, and we're paying for it. And we're also paying for solar and everything else, regardless if we have it or not. So he can stay on this pipe dream about wind farms, but we are suffering. And if you don't do something before you try to run, don't bother.
Okay, Governor, well, she gave you a little medicine, but you're entitled to respond.
Well, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion on it, but the Revolution Wind is going to help us in the state. I've said no to other packages that were going to raise the cost. This is actually going to help us control the cost. So that's a little bit of a Trump talking point out there right now, that somehow the Revolution Wind is not going to help us. It is going to help us. It's going to electrify 200,000 homes. I think it's a little less than 10 cents a kilowatt that we're doing there. But we got to do more. And so we got to do the things we control. What we put in the budget this year is going to help ratepayers save money, but the General Assembly needs to approve it. It's $1 billion of savings over the next 5 years. It's not a pipe dream. It is real, and we are addressing the things that we can control. And then the call is correct. Our cost to bring energy into Rhode Island, into Massachusetts, into Connecticut, into the Northeast is different than where the energy sources are right at the back door of other states, and it does cost us more. We ship in our NLG, and that's the fact of the matter. So if Rhode Island was an outlier in the area, then I would agree with the caller. But no, this is a condition that we're living with, and if we can bring in sources of energy, including a pipeline, under the right conditions, that's going to help the ratepayers. But that's a few years away.
Okay.
What we got on the table right now, Gene, besides eliminating the Social Security tax that I got in there, bringing a child tax credit in for every family, not just any family, in the state. First time we've done that. We are addressing the affordability for all in a real strong way. Now it's up to the General Assembly whether they're going to approve that $1 billion of savings that belongs in the ratepayers' pockets.
We're getting a little tight on time. It's 8:42. This is Ask the Governor. She mentioned it's like paying tolls. Speaking of tolls, what's the plan, Governor? When are you going to turn the gantries on, and what are you going to charge? Give us the news now. We've waited long enough.
Well, it's in my budget that we're going to have toll revenue.
I know that.
When the calculation comes out, I think that it's been said that the toll price is going to come down because of the way that the court case said that we need to treat everyone the same that's driving our roads. So we'll do that, and then it's a function of making sure that we get everything back in order. In terms of the computers that have been down for several years, and they need they have to be completely replaced, and that's what's taken time. But once they're up and running, we'll get it right, and then we'll continue to do the work we're doing, improving our infrastructure at a rapid rate in the state of Rhode Island, and we're going to continue to improve our roads. I got a road restore program in the budget now again for the fourth year in a row. Close to which will be about $150 million of local road improvements with local contribution and state contribution. We're focused on that, and the tolls are going to help us continue to improve. And remember, when I showed up, we had one of the lowest, if not the lowest, rating in infrastructure in the country, and we've already moved up several spots because of the work that I've been able to get done with our administration, working with the Department of Transportation.
Governor, can you give me a date on when the gantries are going to be reactivated and the trucks are going to pay tolls? And my understanding, they pay $3 or $4 a toll.
Yeah, so
everybody pays it flat, about $3 or $4. Is that right? And what's the date?
Yeah, so I would expect that our budget anticipates that they would be in by the beginning of 27, and that the pricing would be set at over the summer time frame. But again, I think that it's going to be competitive and not less than what was charged before because of the way that the court case says that we need to tax everybody the same way.
Okay, so my understanding, turning them on early 27. I thought it was going to be before that. Are you saying that now?
Well, in our budget, I think what we have is revenue for the third and fourth quarter of next year. So if they get up earlier than that, then we'll have additional revenue over and above what we're projecting.
Speaking, let's go from polls to tolls. No, from tolls to polls. Polls are not going your way. That shows Helena beating you. You said before, well, over the next 4 years when I'm here. A lot of people aren't sure you're going to be here.
Well, I will be here based on our records. So once we activate the support, well, I'll have over 1,000 supporters that'll be supporting me all around the state of Rhode Island. So there's going to be a real strong ground game. We're doing that right now, and then we're going to tell people what we've got done. I mean, we have more jobs being created in the state than any 4 years of any governor in the history of the state. We're approaching 36,000 private sector jobs. Our education is improving in an incremental way so that we will reach or exceed Massachusetts levels by 2030. We've already closed the gap on reading by 39% and on math by 29%. And our Learn 365 program will be opening 21 learning centers all around the state of Rhode Island. So we're all vested there. The money that we're putting into our higher education is unprecedented. A cybersecurity school at Rick, a Hope Scholarship at Rick.
You're very good at reciting your accomplishments. I know that, but the question is the polls aren't going your way. It shows that she's going to beat you. Well, sometimes 16 points, 10, 12 points.
My focus in the last few weeks has been not on polls. I'm not worried about polls. The polls that this are out do not matter. And we have just as good, if you want to just compare polls, Morning Consult has me up 17 points in the same time frame that the UNH polls come out. We had the AFL-CIO poll come out where I'm with Democrats. Remember, I'm in a Democratic primary against someone that I don't even think is a Democrat that I'll be running against. What I'm focused on at first is the Democratic primary, and right now we're up 30 points on Democrats that will be voting in the primary. So when you start talking about polls,
you lost me. You lost me.
Take the FLCI poll.
The polls have Helena beating you now.
Not the polls. There's one poll out there that I think is is not very very well done.
Yeah, you dispute.
But when you talk about polls. Plural. Let's talk about polls, plural, Gene, right? That UNH poll has been historically one that has not been favorable to me forever, and there's got to be reasons why, and the numbers are way out of whack. The Morning Consult has me up 17 points over on favorability, And the AFL-CIO poll that just came out that Joe Fleming did has me up by 30 points with Democrats. I'm going into a Democratic primary. So the notion that somehow that you're comparing all the voters, I'll deal with that when we get to the general election, but I'm in a Democratic primary, and I'm up 30 points with people who will vote in the Democratic primary, and up by 25 points with the union members for a Democratic primary. I'm focused on a Democratic primary. When we put everything together, we're going to have a strong win in September, and it'll carry over to November because our record deserves that we continue going. This is a fight worth having, and I'm in. And this is a fight worth winning for the people in the state of Rhode Island. When we're adding jobs, we're adding income, we're investing in our health, our education in ways we never did before, and we're building things at a rate that has never been done before, both infrastructure-wise, public and private. So, yes, this is a fight worth winning, and I'm in, and there's thousands and thousands of people who are with me, and that is going to happen both in September and in November.
Morning Consult is an approval poll, not a head-to-head with Helena. Listen, Helena's going after you on the bridge hard, and she's going to go after you on this screw-up with the payroll system, and she's going to go after you on this and that. What are you going to go after her on?
Well, first of all,
are you going to really step it up?
There's no challenge that we have not met as a governor, whether it was the biggest snowstorm in the history of the state of Rhode Island or saving 2 hospitals during that snowstorm. And the bridge is no different. The bridge is something that I had to deal with, and I'm dealing with it, and I'm providing the leadership to replace a bridge 2 years ahead of Maryland's bridge, which Helena folks says we're behind them. That is not accurate. So there's many things that the folks' campaign is putting out there that is not factual. When we get out in the campaign and we expose her for who she is and who she supports and who I support, this is not even going to be a contest in September. We are going to win by a big number in September, and then we're going to win in November, because what we're fighting for is for the people in the state of Rhode Island. And Helena Folks is a corporate person that has spent her life there, and she doesn't represent the people that we need to be working for in the state of Rhode Island.
Are you looking into her stewardship of the Hudson's Bay Company when she worked retail? Are you looking into more of her stewardship at CVS and more legal action coming? What can you tell me? What have your research people been doing on Helena Folks? And then, by the way, at some point she's going to get to respond to this too.
Of course she is. And by the way, the records are clear. I'm working for the people in the state of Rhode Island. And as a CEO, she worked for the profits for the companies that she represented, whether she was firing people at Hudson, a couple thousand people, or whether she was, clearly in the know that there was a distribution of more pills than should have been done on the opioid issue, and they fueled it. And unfortunately, she put CVS at risk with her leadership, because since the last campaign, over $5 billion of settlements, and there's probably billions more coming on the lawsuit that says that the executives knew what was going on and they turned a blind eye to it in terms of the opioids. So, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff there. When we compare who I am and who I've represented over the years and who she is and who she represented, I'm telling you, we were going to have a strong win in September in that primary, and it will carry over to the general election.
Let's go to the timekeeper. Tom, direction is? Break right after this, 8:50. Stay with us, Governor. We'll give you a nice goodbye. All right, 8:53. Governor, where'd you go to undergraduate? Where'd you go?
I went to Assumption College at the time. That was Assumption University in Worcester.
And then you got a master's up at Harvard?
Yeah, I got a political science degree in Assumption with an education degree, and then I went to the Kennedy School.
What did it cost you to get all out? You remember?
How
much? Yeah, everything.
It wasn't a lot.
Wasn't a lot.
But that was a long time ago, Gene.
Did you see what Brown is getting now? $97,000 a year.
Well, that's why I put the Hope Scholarship in at Rhode Island College.
Well, funny you should mention that.
The Hope Scholarship
the
at
Hope
Rhode Island
Scholarship,
College.
Governor, in and out of 4 years. And don't forget, Langevin's got that cybersecurity thing over there.
Thank you for plugging that.
In and out, 4 years, under $25,000. Maybe half that, depending on the grants you get and everything else. The first 2 years are on you. Listen to me. Pay attention. Put the radio louder. First 2 years are on you. Put the tap on Grandma. Go get your Pell Grants. Apply for everything. And at the end of 2 years, if you do a 2.5 GPA, by the way, Governor, 2.5 was up to me, it'd be 3.5. But I understand.
Hey, even I got a 2.5.
2.5.
I got a little better than that, but even I got 2.5.
Yeah, no, you got to Harvard. Don't diminish. 2.5 GPA. That means junior and senior year are on the taxpayer.
Yes.
It's called the Hope Scholarship. because we believe in you. We have hope in you. So do a 2.5, tap grandma, 25,000, maybe less. And you're going to get out the last 2 years, no debt, nothing. Apply for your loan. No, not even a loan. Apply for your grants. Whatever's left over, the taxpayers of Rhode Island will pick up for you. Go to rick.edu/hope. Made it sound so good, I may go in.
You should.
Pick up another degree.
Hey, that's one of our big successes since I've been, governor. That school was in trouble when I showed up. They had the largest freshman class in 15 years, and that's a tribute to what's going on at Rhode Island College. But I did have something to do with changing leadership there, and it had a lot to do with in terms of like moving that forward with Shannon Gilkey, our Commissioner of Higher Education.
Listen, you got to pay more for the spot.
I know that.
You're like adding to it. You get a minute, okay? I built it up pretty good.
You did.
8:56.
Say goodbye.
We got one more?
No, we got a read to do, so yeah.
All right, well, go to your break. Do whatever you want to do. Oh, you want me to say goodbye to the governor?
Say goodbye to him.
Governor, thank you for coming in.
Okay, I'm
it's
happy
been a pleasure.
to be here.
I think we had a lot to cover.
Have a good time on wherever you're going.
Yeah,
in the next
I'm going to
week
go
or
away
so.
a couple of days, get a little.
Actually, I got a question
sun.
for him.
Okay.
So Massachusetts and Connecticut, they're going after Kalshi now because of all the sports betting money that Kalshi's taking in and not paying any state taxes on it. Are we doing anything here about Kalshi?
I think that's coming.
Well, tell him now. He's the guy who's been pushing this. You have the monopoly on sports betting in Rhode Island, but these Kalshi, what's the other one? Poly Market, the people do it with them. It's money out the door. You want to make news?
Well, we don't have anything on the table right now, but clearly we're looking at that, and we're not going to let people, work in that territory that the taxpayers need the revenue from.
Okay. Thanks, Governor. 8:56.